Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. It is 10, or I should say 11:25 here on a Sunday. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's had a pretty fun weekend. So, yeah, I've been working my way through all of the new movies that I've been buying. I bought. I went on a couple of different trips pretty recently to get some movies, and it's been awesome. I've mainly been going to two big trips. One real big one. I should say a big haul of new movies that I bought, and that was at Bull Moose in Bangor. I've been going to. I also went to the Bull Moose in Brunswick and in Waterville. Went a little crazy. Spent some money this past month, but totally worth it. Got some amazing movies, so I've been working my way through watching all of them, and then usually and then following suit with doing these shows and these reviews on these movies. And again, it's always that the majority of the times right now it's usually me buying movies that I haven't seen before, and I've been just totally lucking out. It's been totally awesome. The last two movies I've been watching, the last two movies that I watched were giallo films, and I really love giallo movies. That's been a newer thing for me. Like when I grew up in the world, when I was a kid, and the time of VHS, and back when cable would have these midnight kind of horror marathon shows. I grew up watching slasher movies and all of the low budget horror movies that were of the time. Movies like The Tourist Trap, the Friday the 13th movies, obviously Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but then also, a lot of Italian horror movies, Lucio Fulci films, House by the Cemetery, Dario Argento films, Bruno Mattei, a lot of the old zombie movies, endless lists of movies that I saw when I was a kid. And I did see a lot of giallo films, like here and there, but I never knew, like, I never thought of it as, I don't know, it was a different kind of a thing for me at the time. But I did see films. I didn't know what giallo was at the time. I just saw them as like these kind of weird, low budget foreign films, at the time. And it wasn't until like the last few years where I started to kind of recognize the giallo thing as being a very distinct style, and it's a style that really was kind of brought into fruition by the Italians. Uh, Sergio Martino, directors like Jess Franco, other directors, Mario Bava, Dario Argento. I mean, Lucio Fulci. So many of these great Italian directors were they were also making these very gory slasher movies, or monster movies, definitely in the exploitation world. But they also were doing these giallo films that are also like very low budget, very aesthetically pleasing in a lot of ways. They have this very Euro vibe to them, or Euro trash to them. And it's an amazing genre. I love it. It's one of my favorite, if you want to call it that, but it's one of my favorite kind of subgenres in the world of exploitation. I really love it because it's kind of like the Italians' version of the Agatha Christie story, that classic, murder mystery, who done it kind of a story, or kind with that aesthetic really in mind. But what the Italians did, your typical giallo films have, there's always a killer involved. There's usually a gloved killer. There's always there's always a lot of the time, most of the times, there's always some kind of like psychosexual thread or theme. There is an emphasis on just incredible lighting that only the Italians could do. The cinematography is usually beautiful, so everything has a very almost art house kind of quality to them. Everything is kind of in this heightened reality. There's also like this surrealistic quality to a lot of the films. A lot of the movies have this dreamlike quality. A lot of the giallo films that I've been watching and that I've been buying, I've been buying quite a few the last couple of years, all have this dreamlike quality. There's a lot of sections in the films where there are these kind of dream sequences, and there's always a an investigative aspect. There's a series of murders, and there's a kind of this journey of trying to discover who the murderer or murderers are, and that there's always a hint of some kind of conspiracy. There's always you have the detective side of things, the police story aspect, and a lot of giallo films are also can be very gory, but they also can be very kind of sleazy, and they're just amazing. But they're very unique because they're very much I don't know, like a crime caper with all of those other things. And one movie that I bought, which is definitely a giallo film, and it's definitely an exploitation movie, which I had never heard about, and I was blown away by it, and that is Death Walks at Midnight. This was a an Arrow, yeah, an Arrow release. Of course, Arrow is a major company and major player in the world of exploitation. I had never heard of this movie. I think I bought it at the Bull Moose in Bangor, and this movie's incredible. It's got all the classic tropes of what makes up a giallo film, but it's really good. It's such a great character study. It's really centered around this woman who has these kind of it has these series of these dreams where she sees these like these murders take place, and she almost can identify the killer, and a series of things happen around her in her life around that time, and there seems to be these series of real life murders that are going on, and she is not sure if she is kind of going crazy or losing her mind, and the story is about her kind of discovering the truth, and also her trying to a degree, take the law in her own hands, and it's awesome. It's a really really great movie. It's very much a slow burn. It has a very Euro feel. It came out in 1972. It's fabulous, and the transfer of this movie on Blu-ray is pretty incredible. Really excited. It was directed by Luciano Ercoli, who again is another director I had never heard of before. Two directors that I have gotten really really into lately, and have done. They both have made a ton of exploitation movies, and especially all kinds of wild and crazy giallo films. Would be like Sergio Martino, for instance. I just bought one of his movies that I'd never seen before, and I just finished watching that the other night, and amazing. So I'm going to be doing a show on that later this week. And I've been really into his films. I've been really getting into a lot of his films, and I have quite a few of his movies on tap right now on Blu-ray. And Jess Franco is another director that I have gotten really into. He's one of my favorites. And Sergio Martino is I'd seen a couple of his movies growing up. There's one movie of his called Torso, which is just incredible. But it's been an awesome, world, and a series of new discoveries and new films where it's been introducing me to this whole new world. And Death Walks at Midnight is definitely an example of that. If you like great, murder mystery films, suspense-driven films, even if you're a fan of classic Hitchcock, just incredible. But again, the giallo style and the giallo world is pretty distinct and really unique. It's a lost the world of exploitation and giallo. I think it's kind of a lost art form. They're trashy, they're sleazy, low budget, but they're great. They just have this charm and this charisma, and they just epitomize everything that was so cool about the late 60s and the 70s. My favorite decade, the 70s. With the music, the sense of style, the aesthetics, the low budget nature, the rawness, just awesome. And this movie, I'm super excited that I bought this. It's a great addition. Death Walks at Midnight by Luciano Accoli. Super cool movie. Again, it was something I had never seen before. Came out, my favorite decade, 1972. Super excited that I bought this, but can't say enough good things about this movie. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.